All right. And we're back with some oxygen not included. Can I just say, uh, if you didn't watch yesterday's stream, to say the least of things here, we spent basically 4 hours mucking about with this copper tamer. Obviously, we did not have to go with such a complicated design, to say the least of things here. But hey, man, um, I'm not Hunter if I don't go with uh the ridiculous designs, I guess. With that being said, though, so what we would be doing today? So extension of what we did yesterday. We're gonna be adding a support module to what you may call it, this thing, and we're gonna be blocking it in at least the polluted water wise. I don't know if we're gonna fill the entire bottom section. We might actually, and then pipe. How would we do this actually? Now that I think about it. Because we're gonna need like 2 layers of water, or at least one layer of water, and then 1 layer of not insulated water, but obviously water. Actually, I think what we're gonna have to do is that we're gonna have to pipe the coolant on top, and then use metal to transfer the coolant over, and then pump out the polluted oxygen to make sure that the coolant doesn't leak, or we can pump. We could just basically block it off instead of worry about pumping out all the polluted oxygen. Because at the end of the day, that's the side effect of working with polluted water. It's gonna off gas, and when it off gases, what you may call it, it's gonna produce a little bit of polluted oxygen. I also am building more storage containers just because at the end of the day here, I'm gonna have like a couple containers domestically, but I also want to make sure that we have a couple containers here just so that we have more storage capacity, and it's also local storage too, to like the main site. So yeah, we have a lot of things to do today, to say the least of things. And then I also have to tame this other natural gas geyser up north too. I'm thinking I will probably put an aqua tuner, like realistically speaking, gas, in this case hydrogen gas. It's coming out at 150 C, right? So like, it's obviously not that hot in the grand scheme of things. So that's why I think we're gonna take a little bit of it. By a little bit of it, we need all of it, because ultimately these 2 natural gas geyser are gonna support by minimum 3 aqua tuners, and then like our other power source like coal, hydrogen technically exists to some extent. Obviously not ideal, but it's whatever, man. And then another thing that I was thinking of doing while we're here is getting rid of all the salt water. I just can't believe how much salt water we have, man. Yeah, and then eventually, once we get enough copper, I'm gonna replace my entire power grid. Now we could also use lead. I mean, like, realistically speaking, we should probably use lead. But I'm also down to like 12.8 tons of lead, man. I'm telling you, man, it's amazing how quickly you consume a lot of your resources. I think another thing that I want to do also is a processing chamber for these guys, because ultimately we don't really need 60 something critters here. So what I think I'm going to do is actually automate this, and realistically speaking, I think we're just going to have a spare 8 critters, and then once that's been achieved, just in case if anything happens to the primary thing, which I don't think that's gonna be ever the case. What's going on with power? Oh yeah, what do you call it, that was disturbing me. The power line was 1 off, and I was like, this stuff is ghetto. I guess then again, if you think about most of my designs, it's not the most. Oh shit, I just realized. The thing actually powers like critical infrastructure. I'm a little bit concerned, but it's okay. They're gonna add the power wires. There we go. Okay. And then eventually we're gonna disconnect all these suits And we're going to be moving up by one because we're going to be working in environments now that requires people to wash their goddamn hands. So, we're going to need the ability to make sure that they clean their hands and all that business. I'm also thinking of processing the oil for people wondering, like, what are the next steps that you're doing, Hunter? We're going to get into the oil industry because oil at the end of the day is going to keep the war running. And then we're going to dig up all that Johnny. I love my cool box though. Also, I'm expanding the cool box. Ultimately, you know, I want the temperature of like this lower tank to be. You should focus on this thing. Let's not power 9 everything. I'm just gonna power 9 this thing. And then if you're below 15, you stop. So this is just gonna make it so that it cools down these extra water tiles, because by placing it so close to the door, right? Like realistically speaking, it's not cooling down these tiles. So I want to make it so that these tiles get cooled too, which is gonna push these tiles down to say the least things here. But ultimately the temperature is gonna balance itself out, right? So the main idea here is to inject even more coolant into the thing, and then this thing I think is dormant now, right? Nope, it's going to be dormant in 5.8 cycles. So I'm basically going to be pushing these plants to the goddamn limits, to say the least of things. And then actually, I'm debating on whether or not to use this area instead of a what should I call it? Because I think ultimately for food production, right? We're gonna use probably stuffed berries, man. Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's these things require polluted water, and we have polluted water vent. So I'm like, hey man, kill two birds with one stone, right? So it might be in our best interest to maybe use this area to produce that, and we don't have to cool it too, because these guys operate in very high or extreme, I would say pretty extreme temperature, man. If you look at the plant themselves, like these little boils, they can operate to 85, and actually they prefer a hot environment. So not cooling the steam or not cooling this is actually in our best interest. If anything, it's goddamn too cold, man. What the hell? This is 30C, right? So eventually temperature is going to equalize around 30C. While these things, they only operate at 35. So we actually have to inject heat on occasion, assuming. Actually, I guess we can use this to inject heat. So I might turn this area into a little farm here. And then that means we'll probably have to figure out how to clean the polluted water too. So there's a lot of other side projects or tiny little projects that we're gonna have to do. One thing that's positive though is that our ability to generate surplus water is very, very good, to say the least thing. Which is why I'm trying to increase the consumption of water right now. That means we probably have to use it to like feed our plants or something, man. Yeah, that does probably mean we gotta use it to like plant shit like that. And then buildings. Is this thing at its maximum apex production? Yep. Okay, well, we'll deconstruct this and add more water consuming plants for the time being. That's amazing how much these plants, what do you call it? These plants produced, because we have like a huge surplus now, which is why like I want to transition ourselves out of like producing mealwood. Mealwood, they're great, we love them, but at the end of the day, they don't really provide that much calories for the space that they take up. We got rid of a lot of our mealwood farm, by the way, so people who love mealwood, I'm sorry, it's over for them. And also, what do you call it? Good, the saltwater is now getting drained out, to say the least of things. Alright, now we can just put salt water, because fuck salt water. Me and my homies, we hate salt water. Okay, fine, salt water is just like regular water, but still though, they take up a lot of space. Also, I did a construction queue to replace a lot of our home tiles with plastic, just because plastic increased the speed that the dupe can run. which is very useful, especially considering the fact that, you know, I need them to get to and fro places, right? So, you know, especially the bathrooms, the deeper the tiles, the harder it is to get to the, like, the further bathroom. So adding that tile would hopefully incentivize these guys to be able to run, you know, back and forth. A-okay. And also, I mean, plastic is just much more decorative. So it looks better. I'm also debating whether or not we're gonna export our like fish tank into somewhere else. We also need like emergency power. What happens if something fails, you know? Look at that shit. 13. Oh my god. I'm just placing it a little further, so that means it cools down the water even more aggressively. Which, you know, could be a good or bad thing, depending on how much it cools it down by and how quickly the temperature, you know, equalizes. Ultimately, I want, you know, this tank to be around 15. Obviously, this is going to be more aggressive in terms of cooling. Also, how's that automation wire coming along? Good, good, very good. I'm just a basic automation, basically telling this thing to not suck up these guys. How are we gonna process them? That's the real question. I have no fucking idea, bro. I think instead of having like a decentralized system to process our eggs, I'm gonna have I think it's better to have a more centralized system to process the eggs. Why can't I cancel this? I'd rather not use iron. Iron's pretty expensive these days. And then gold, I don't even want to process gold, honestly. I think we're better off using copper. And then I guess any new lines that we're gonna build, we're probably gonna build that shit out of copper. And I guess, yeah, I guess the first copper dividends that we're gonna get paid here is, what do you call it? We're gonna use that shit to start, you know, overhauling our internal grids, because ultimately these ghetto wires, I mean, they're only going to take us so far, right? So I'm I'm gonna start slowly with the copper volcano finally tame, using those funds to upgrade our wire. Meteor showers. Okay. We also get more copper ore too, which is great because we use that shit to construct. We can use the shit to construct these shipping lines, and these shipping lines are gonna be important because ultimately we want to have like one area. I think we just use regular water, or do we want to use brine? Yeah, because I don't think most things can survive in brine. But either way, we're going to be shipping any excess eggs that we produce over to this area to be, processed for the greater good. Yeah, it'll take stuff from here, move it all the way to here, and, yeah, I mean, it had to be this way, okay, guys? Peace was never an option, okay? So ultimately, what I'm thinking is that when we produce meat, that meat will then get what do you call it? Meat and fish, right? So and then we'll make surf and turf ultimately. But I wonder, can you reach into the thing if the door is closed? I'm not entirely sure, honestly. The only reason why we put the door there is so that animals can't jump out. Because if we put anything else, then they can jump out, which is, like, kind of not good, obviously. Wait, aluminium. Change material to copper. Is all of our doors made of? Yep. That's another place we can reclaim some of our metals here. Is there like a mass rebuild order? Because like, I want to rebuild everything via copper, and the reason is quite simple. Aluminum is it's a great metal, and what do you call it? I'd rather use the much more abundant copper ore than the less abundant, resource. Hey man, anywhere we can just reclaim a portion of the metal, you better bet I'm gonna do it. Ah, shit. I didn't mean to print Liam. Well. What am I gonna do with you, Liam? Well, I didn't mean to go up to 13. Well. Especially since Liam is only good at fucking construction, man. Well, it could be worse, I guess. I mean, we do have extra room, I guess. Though, I would prefer if we did not take Liam to begin with, because that's going to increase our consumption. gonna be a slow process, but I mean, you know, as soon as the copper becomes, you know, available, we'll kick that baby into overgear, and then, you know, make sure this is 49 because I want to close this thing up because it's leaking its heat out with crude oil. It's like not good. And we got increased water consumption anyways, so you know, it is what it is. My copy settings, pasta settings, and then realistically, these plants are gonna replace, you know, like a lot of the millwood. So, and then that millwood can go into whatever, basically, whatever we want it to be invested in. Oh shit! Whoops. Oh good, our chamber is gonna get ready for testing sooner rather than later. I wonder if there's a way to make it so that, you know, just the eggs doesn't get lost in the process. But I don't think so, man. I think this egg is gonna be stubbornly stuck there. I have an idea. I guess, I mean, you can just not build this to begin with. Hold up. A regular hatch, bro? Get that shit out of here. I don't know if we can detect a particular hatch variant, but a regular hatch variant is definitely something we don't need. Okay, the next thing we gotta do is automate the records. Wait, before we do that, we should probably really engage with the other natural gas geyser. And then after that, we can then fuck around with a little bit, because once we have 2 natural gas geyser, we're gonna have like a lot of power. And then ultimately, I want to tame that gold geyser too, so that we have unlimited gold and copper. And then copper, we're gonna use as a driving force as our power network. Of course, obviously, we'll keep the lead line in place for the time being, but you know, it's whatever. So if egg gets stuck, right? Egg is gonna get pulled over, and then placed into here. And then actually, I kind of want to move. Well, you know, for testing purposes. So will you die? This is drowning. How long can a hatch stay underwater for? I guess. Huh. Ah, that's. Okay, so the thing can't reach through the door. But what this means is that we'll need to deconstruct you first of all. A little bit more annoying. um that thing's not gonna hatch anytime soon, so that's fine. I need you to move the thing here, and then you to move the thing over here. Actually, this is stupid. um we could pay half the energy cost by just making it into a conveyor loader. No, they can't get escape anyway, so we don't need to do that. Alright, sweep all this shit. Get that stuff out of here. The only thing you're sweeping is meat. And then that means we don't need this extra refrigerator too. Alright, so Little John is gonna pick up the meat. He's gonna put it in here. The meat's gonna drop down here. This guy will put up the meat into here. And then that meat will get processed. So now, instead of having 7 billion hatches, what do you call it? They'll go the way of the dodo, basically, which is very good. Oh, very good for us. Not good for them. What does the raw form of this look like? Bristle and gristle. So we want gristle to be here. I want the bristle to not be there. Alright, pickle meal, jack, muckroot, check, barbecue, gristleberry, berry with the gristles. Okay, and now next thing we want to do is just a little bit of automation on the farm here. Power grids, man. Ah. I don't want the seeds to go here. So we either have to add like an extra vent for the seeds. I guess we just add an extra one, man, honestly. It has to get filtered at some point. Then again, that's 120. The solid filter is also 120. So maybe we should just add it at the end line and then filter it out. I guess that could be the case. Alright, little buddy. You gotta not be in here, because if you ever lay your eggs in the wrong area, well, let's just say your eggs are going to go the way of the dodo. And yeah, we're just gonna slowly industrialize this power. I guess I should probably add that module now that I think about it. Whoopsie, I forgot. He forgot. Good. Now we start dumping a little water on this bottom side. Ah, fuck. I don't even know what the hell Liam is, man. Well, Liam, we can go to default schedule 2, I guess. Actually, psych. We need more people in, nope. Schedule 3. I mean, it's not good for walking, but I mean, you know, since we're now like in the age of richness, we might as well spend. You know, spend our money, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, there's really no point to be out cheapo. Then again, I didn't even want the guy. Ah, it's whatever, man. Where's the decor overlay? Oh yeah, the plastic tile, you know, definitely adds to the decor value. So, you know, overhauling it to have more plastic is actually kind of nice. Oh, there's a couple of junk just lying around. I don't think an item filter can have more than one item. Oops. Okay, so this day is gonna be bristle bristleberry and then blossom seed. I don't get where the polluted dirt is coming from. Well, whatever, man. That shit's going away. Ta-da! Now we have clean plants. And then... sublimiter, something like that? There we go. Pick up that oxide. Take that shit away, bro. And then for shipping purposes, how are you doing these days? First of all, we got disconnect you. This just makes it so that after they're done farming, the bristleberry doesn't have to be immediately picked up, or if it needs to get picked up, it will get picked up and transported to the refrigerator automatically. And this is what having extra power allows you to do, right? Like put some basic ass automation around the base so that you can then do other shit, because you're gonna have other shit to worry about, man. All right, anyways, let's look at the shipping overlay, making sure everything's working properly. We're kind of bricked up right now, sir. All right, Liam, even though he's a what we call a loud snorer, at least he's not bothering anybody with his snoring. So, wow, he is actually like dog poo-poo water. Okay, it's okay. Is it okay? It's not okay, man. But you know what? I'm gonna say it's okay for the time being, because by golly, can we not purge him? I didn't mean to take the 13th guy. The 13th guy was taken by accident. But yeah, I mean, should we just ship him out to space and then, not recover the body? You know what I'm saying? We conquer heat. Heat's my bitch. That's true. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how much one aqua tuner can, cool down your base, man. Shout out to the aqua tuners. Very, very well. 24 coming out at 13, so about 11 degree of different. No, 15, 14, so 10 degrees. I think if next thing we're bringing the ice age, bro. But yeah, we're pretty much just being chilling at this point. I'm also migrating my food source over to the Bristol Blossom. Just because ultimately these plants are gonna provide better calorie compared to the mealwood. I really well, once we secure our power lines, I do think I'm gonna focus on probably space. So, I mean, going down really has no benefits for me. I guess unless we want to like boil some things, but I think well, first of all, I need to stabilize my calories because I sacrifice all the meal wood. So that is definitely gonna have to get worked on, to say the least of things. But yeah, once our calories stabilize, damn, you guys already install all this shit too, man. Fuck me, man. I'm just adding some backup storage. And then, well, if we need to add more, we will add more. But yeah, I think, what do you call it? I got a couple of things that I want to do in terms of like tiny little projects that I need to work on right now. One being the automation of meat, because ultimately, I want our meat to be, you know, automated so that we can cook meat without having anybody, or actually the only involvement is the farming of the meat, right? So right now we're gonna be taking all these hatches, or actually we are taking all the hatches. We have honestly, I'm gonna have like 4 just in case, so that we have 4 spare eggs, and then the rest of the eggs are gonna go get, processed. But there's so little work that people are now doing, like menial tasks, stuff like that. But then what should they do? Well, I don't know, man. I guess since you guys have nothing else to do, how germy is this area? It's pretty germy. I hate the germs. But yeah, I mean, I got one more volcano that I need to tame before we can even think about going to space, and that's the gold volcano. So, got we got a little bit before we go fully to space. I also am gonna maybe change up my food depending on. I also gotta tame this thing, so there's a couple of things I need to do before we can wait, quiet. Before we can just go out into space. And yeah, ultimately, we will be cutting down our meal lice. Probably, I don't even know, man. I want to create a farm. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe we should create a separate farm, like over in another area. Well, what the hell is this? That's carbon dioxide. I remember you. Wait, no. There's 2 of you. One of you carbon. Oh, hot polluted oxygen. Ugh. I'm thinking we're probably gonna move our bristle into this like area because it's way bigger, and what do you call it? It's more isolated, which is good for us just because, like I want to be shipping everything out here. So okay, our next big project will be a bristle farm because we're rich now, bitch. We're rich now. And then I think we can start tackling the rockets because we're already at space, right? So like, realistically speaking, space is not that far from us. I don't want to suck in the hydrogen back. Actually, why don't we plastic our way up? That's fine. Our cooler network can take the heat. I want to expand out this entire thing. I also want to figure out what's going on with this Gravitas shipping container. There's a guy in there. Interesting. Ugh, he lives with the germs? Really, bro? Okay, well, there's another building up there. Oh my god, there's even an oil bomb up there, bro. Either way, I need a large space for farming, and then I'm also gonna move you into probably like to the right a little bit, and the reason being is because, well, these guys produce polluted dirt, but that polluted dirt is very germy, and I don't wanna touch it. I don't wanna touch it. Actually, that reminds me, maybe we should shift the polluted dirt down into this area so that we don't have to touch it. Yeah, this area is like a germy area anyways. Or maybe we should actually start tackling the germs, man. 7 tiles from top to bottom. Okay, once we conquer our food situation, aka the overhaul of our bizzles, I think it's time. It's time. No, I'm just kidding. Aluminum. Ain't no way, bro. We're using copper, bro. Copper is way cheaper. Liam, how the fuck? Whatever, man. At least he's trapped in somewhere breathable, so he's not gonna die instantly. How come nobody has constructed this? Hello? Alright, Liam, just deconstruct yourself then, buddy. I like how we just automate this, and now we're like, oh yeah, by the way, we're not gonna use it. Classic Hunter, man. Build it, and then like, I don't like it, so we're gonna build it somewhere else.